Good. As long as you make sure to remember to flip the symbol on when you multiply or divide by negative. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, we're solving two-step inequalities today. Those two problems that we skipped last time, we're going to do those today. But before we do that, I want to make a list of things to remember about solving inequalities. This is a brainstorming session, so I want you just putting forth ideas of things that we need to remember. And if you don't get all the stuff that I want you to put out, I'll share some with you. So what do we got? What are some things that we need to remember about solving inequalities? Anything.
Mark your sign.
What do you mean by that?
Negative or positive.
Okay, keep track of signs. And that's true for solving anything, right? That's true for solving anything, right? Equations or inequalities. What else? What do we need to do? Let's think about just when we're solving inequalities. Say it again. That's true for solving anything. I want this list to be more about solving inequalities, specifically inequalities. Steven? Check if the symbol is going to flip. When does it flip? Let's finish. When is it going to flip?
It's a negative.
What's a negative?
The problem is to like add or subtract like the coefficient.
The coefficient? And in other words, what that means is if you multiply or divide. That's a big one. What? Yes, when we're writing inequalities. This is a list for when we're solving inequalities, though. Anna? Kobe and Stephen are the only ones that know anything about solving inequalities. So every other person completely failed the homework yesterday. No, you didn't. Start putting forth some ideas. We literally wrote down notes. We have 3 days worth of notes. Start looking through, getting some key ideas that we're going to culminate in one nice list. Please. You haven't even said the rule. Like the things that we literally wrote down that said rules. Come on. What are the things we need to remember when solving inequalities? Can we give me another one?
If you multiply or divide by a positive number, then the inequality symbol stays the same.
Exactly. Multiply or divide by positive, the symbol stays the same. Jeremiah?
If you multiply or divide by a negative number, inequality symbol flip.
Good, we already got that one. That's the rule, that's the thing we just wrote down.
Since inequality, infinite solutions, make sure to write down, make sure to graph it.
Yeah, we got to graph. We got to graph it, right? Graph the infinite solutions. Or we have to graph because it has an infinite number of solutions. Jack?
Open circle for less than or greater than.
Yep, so open, closed, and left and right, right? Those are things to remember. Yeah, we want to write it, solve it, graph it. Absolutely. I'm more for specifically solving inequalities. Steven? Say it again? That's for solving anything. I love that. These are great ideas, but that's for solving anything. Saeed?
Keep the symbol and don't change it to an equal sign.
Yep, there you go, thank you. Inequality. Symbols. And the last thing that you guys haven't said is the variable needs to come first. The variable needs to be written first. variable needs to be written first. So if it's on the right side of the equal sign, we need to flip the whole thing to make it so it's on the left side of the equal sign. So keep track of the signs, so of course that's true for solving anything. Check if the symbol is going to flip. That's if the coefficient is negative, or another way to think about that is if you multiply or divide by a negative. When you multiply or divide by a positive, the symbol stays the same, meaning that if it's less than, then it stays less than. We got to graph the infinite solutions, right? Because there's an infinite number of solutions, we have to graph it to demonstrate. Okay. Open or closed, left and right when we graph. So which direction is it going to go? Right. Left and right is when the symbol is pointing left or the symbol is pointing right, but only if the variable is coming first. Don't forget inequality symbols. So let's do some of these problems now that we're kind of thinking about what we need to keep track of. When we have two-step inequalities, there's a lot to remember because, well, there's multiple steps. But what do you think we're going to do first?
Build one, circle the variable and the coefficient.
Yeah, circle the variable with its coefficient. Good. And so now that's just a process of doing your inverse operation steps. You just subtract a from both sides. And I'm left with 2x. Do I need to flip anything yet? Nope. Okay, is less than or equal to 2. Now how do I get x completely by itself? Come on. Chris, how do I get the 2 by itself now? Or how do I get the x by itself now? Yeah, what operation is that? Yeah, we have to divide both sides by 2. Notice that's the phrasing I say every single time. Right, so I don't change the phrasing, I don't change the way that I say the things. If you change the way you think of things all the time, then you won't recognize patterns. And you're left with x and 1. Do I need to flip the symbol?
No.
No flip. Why?
It's positive.
Exactly. We multiplied and divided to apply positive numbers. Okay, so this becomes less than or equal to. So now let's graph it. Open or closed? Left or right? Left. Good. So my numbers are going to be 1, 2, and 0. Closed and left. Questions? Is your board right? Cool. Let's do the next one. What am I circling here?
Variable and its coefficient.
Good. Can you guys tell what the coefficient is of this one? Not negative 3, because that's not negative 3 times t. It's technically negative 1/3. I know. We don't have to think about it as negative 1/3 because it looks like this, but technically the coefficient is negative 1/3. But the process for this one is still going to be exactly the same. Plus 5, plus 5. And I have t over negative 3. And 7. Do I need to flip the symbol? Do I need to flip the symbol in that step? Nope, because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. Okay, and now I need to multiply by what? Negative 3. And I get t and negative 21. Flip or not to flip? I need to flip it. Right? Why? So we multiplied by a negative. So this becomes less than, right? I also made it darker so you guys could see the flipping. So that's my inequality. So now the question is open or closed? Left or right?
Left.
Good. So we have negative 21, negative 20, negative 22. Open and to the left. Cool. So things to think about. You're probably going to have 1 or 2 on your notes, or excuse me, on your homework, where this whole thing has the variable on the right-hand side. So if our answer was t over here, what would I need to do before I graphed? What would I need to do before I graphed if t was on the right-hand side? I'm actually looking for an answer to that question. It's not just a random question that I'm asking for no reason. If the t was on the right-hand side, what would I need to do before I graphed?
Oh, you're gonna flip the sign.
Okay, no, I need to flip the entire thing.
Oh,
The whole thing would have to would have to change its direction. If t was on the right-hand side and negative 21 was over here, I would have to switch the numbers and switch the symbol. I would literally read it in reverse, write it backwards. Okay, because the variable has to come first. Okay, questions on this?